Hey, welcome back to Dukes on Twitch. Back today with a Legacy Death and Taxes League. Hey to all of you on YouTube. A huge thank you for your support and for watching my videos. It means a lot. If you haven't subscribed and you do like this content, definitely check me out. And I very much appreciate every single one of you. This is my current take on Legacy D&T. I have been switching back and forth between the two Serra Avengers in the main deck and just an extra Plains and an extra Spirit of the Labyrinth. It's kind of the two builds. I'm pretty happy with the board. I think there is some room for probably cutting the Mindbreak traps because of Storm not really seeing too much play. I probably wouldn't bring it in against something like Elves, so I think the trap is obviously a little bit... what's the word? Niche, I guess, right now. I think I might just rather like something like an extra Path to Exile and maybe an extra... something like Grafdigger's Cage would be interesting. Narrow, there we go. Hey Rick, a huge thank you. Rick, we should definitely play some Highlander. I have pretty much a free weekend, but we do have to find some time before the event starts. I still have to get ready for it and set up my deck list and stuff. I'm not sure what I'm playing, so that should be pretty cool. Hey Skullclamp, welcome. It's pretty straightforward. You can definitely check out some of my deck techs before each league in my other videos, but there's not too much to talk about. I just like to say that although I do like Serra Avenger, I've never personally liked the card. It just does what it does so well, and I can't drop it. But if I was going to play a competitive event, I would probably go up to 24 lands, adding a Plains by cutting one Serra and then cutting the other Serra for something like another Spirit of Labyrinth. There's a lot of blue online right now, and I think Spirit's in a pretty decent spot, so those are my considerations. But Serra's just been really good. I feel like with a lot of the fair decks running around, the board just gets stalled up pretty easily, so having a creature that can both attack and defend without having to do too much before it, without having to put too much into it, is really nice. You don't have to equip it for it to become a threat. You don't have to protect it too much, which is nice. A lot of the flyers in Legacy are obviously... I guess you do, but yeah, Serra's just been really nice. I was thinking of something like a Luminarch Aspirant in the sideboard for some of the matchups where I do want to get out of bolt range, or maybe make some of my ground creatures bigger, but that's probably where I'd cut the Mindbreak traps for something like a Path and an extra Aspirant. But I know as soon as I drop that Mindbreak trap, I'm just going to face combo, so hopefully this does okay. It's always nice to play D&T as well. It's obviously one of my favorite decks, up there with Maverick. All right, in game, nice. Hey Greek, a huge thank you. I will definitely stay hydrated. But yeah, for anyone watching on YouTube or in chat right now, there is an MTGO event coming up for Australian Highlander, which is a singleton event, singleton format, sorry. Kind of uses the vintage ban list, but you are allowed things like companions. There is a MTGO based tournament starting, I believe, in 2 days, which will run as a kind of free-for-all where you get 2 matchups each week against different opponents. You play those matchups, you put in your details, and then you just keep going throughout your weeks and play different opponents and put in your own results through MTG Melee, I believe. And the winner that comes out of it gets a Paper Mox Emerald, which is pretty huge. I believe second is a Bayou, third and fourth are Beta Bolts, and then fifth to eighth are something else. I do need to create commands for these, 100%. I've just been pretty busy these last couple of weeks. But yeah, if you want to find out more, definitely check out. There's a good Reddit thread about it. I believe Epic Eki has some details about it on his Twitch. Pretty cool event. It's a really fun format. It's big in Australia. It's definitely growing around the world. They had a league recently, maybe a few months back, where the top 8 got some pretty cool prizes. I think an Underground Sea was first place, which is pretty sweet. 103 mana Thalia. I think 3 mana Thalia is pretty good. It's just a case of it not being as great as it could be in the mid to late game, so you really want to find it early, which means you're probably playing more than probably like 2 to 3 copies, which is pretty tough because the list is pretty solid outside of maybe 1 or 2 or 3 slots. But yeah, 3 mana Thalia is pretty good. I think it's pretty good against some of the basic heavy control decks because it turns on Wasteland against fetch lands. It's obviously great against Sneak and Show. It can slow down Elves. Yeah, I even think it's fine against like a Plague Engineer heavy metagame because it becomes a 2-1 with First Strike, which is still fine. It gets through the Plagues, which is cool. But yeah, I've played it before in Green-White Maverick as well, and it performed pretty well, especially with the ability to power it out turn 2. I really like that. And it's also just a creature you can protect with Caracas, which is nice. Played against Hogaak the other week on D&T and found that pretty tough. Hogaak, although it does get hosed by Rest in Peace, it can just go wide on the board, and it can be pretty tough to come back from that. This is pretty much a perfect hand. I mean, it has a turn 1 Vial and a turn 2 Port. We have both Thalia for combo decks and blue decks. We have Stoneforge for fair decks. We have Skyclave for removal. I don't think it gets much better than this, especially with double planes. Really nice start. Yeah, turning on Wasteland against fetch lands is really nice. Ah, speaking of Hogaak, classic. Okay. So this is going to be an interesting one. I could port my opponent, which does tax him in the same type of way of Thalia. The one thing that I saw by picking up the Recruiter is that if we play Thalia this turn, next turn we can play Recruiter for another Thalia in case my opponent is going hard on Bridge from Belows, which means we can play the second Thalia, lose our first one to Legendary status, and go that way. But I think here I like just trying to tax my opponent as much as possible. So probably playing the Port into Thalia, because if we draw Wasteland, then we can Port and Wasteland. If we play Plains, we can't Port and Wasteland next turn. Thalia also keeps, Altar off the bin, so I do like Thalia here. It also built out our board, which is nice. But Hogaak, yeah, Hogaak really strong at being able to play a wide game through Rest in Peace, which can be pretty tough. There's a Vengevine. Okay. There's one bridge. And Careful Study. Okay. Not too bad. I kind of hope to see at least one more bridge enter the bin. Cabal Therapy. Okay. I do like activating Vial whenever I can, but if my opponent's tapped out, there's no real reason to. Halen Chalice. Yeah, Depths was really fun. A lot of lines. I felt like I played it a bit too much like a Maverick player, just tapping out. But it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. Opponent on 5 cards. Hey, Jig. Welcome. I'm definitely getting rid of the Hedron Crab. We have Recruiters to find Flickerwisp to use the Skyclave again, so... Don't feel like I'm in a bad position here. Is this another crab? Okay. Alright. Oh, there's a Hogaak. Ah, nice one, Jack. Yeah. Whenever a creature is put into an opponent's graveyard from the battlefield. Nice, yeah. That's very true. Alright, there's second bridge. And second Hogaak. Yikes. This is pretty good. Because they're most likely going to take out the recruiters here. I don't want to put in the Stoneforge yet. Swords to Plowshares, nice. If I put in the Stoneforge there, they can name the equipment and get an easy take. Hey Penguin, welcome. Hey Moto, welcome. Haha, hey Strass Daddy. Yikes. Pretty good turn from my opponent. No great blocks here. Oh, they don't? Interesting. Ah, they only had one... Okay, this actually isn't too bad. They only had one, Cabal. Alright, I'm just going to get Batterskull here. Life Total's definitely relevant. It's also nice because I can put the Stoneforge in front of a Vengevine if they attack. Just to lose the bridges in the bin. Prelate. I think here it's just best to recruit her for Flicker Wisp. And then just pass. There's no great attacks here. So my plan is most likely to block a Vengevine with Recruiter. Well, that's pretty good. I do need to take the Hogaak out here, unfortunately. Because if I lose Flicker Wisp and they attack with everything, I'm pretty close to dead, but at least Flicker Wisp buys me a turn. Pretty tough spot. At least if they take Batterskull, I'm not really in a position to put the Batterskull in until next turn. So the Stoneforge going in front of a Vengevine to trigger the bridges is pretty okay here. I didn't Batterskull, that's fine. Alright. It's tough as well, because I don't really want to name one with Prelate. They are going to attack, which is interesting. The Stoneforge doesn't really have a role here, so I'm happy to throw this away to trigger the bridges. We'll keep this at 3. Caracas is just a really nice draw here if I can get it. I can't. So we can attack with 3 in the air, and then we're just pretty much dying. There's no great blocks on the Hogaak. It might just be a case of saving face. Hogaak is going to be interesting. I like the Path, the Surgicals, the Rest in Pieces. I don't mind the Canonists. I'm not a big fan of the prelate. It's mainly prelate for 1, but then we're turning off our own removal spells in swords, which I really don't like. The Revoker can most likely come out. I think the Rest in Pieces and the Surgicals hit the altar pretty well. Spirit interacts with the Careful Study, but that's about it. Hey Eli, welcome. Welcome back to streaming. What's this? Matchup as Gak, yeah. Which is pretty interesting. Yeah, I guess I can name Altar of Dementia with Phyrexian Revoker, but I feel like we kind of have that covered by how we're boarding. I'm not really scared of Altar. We also have Skyclave to eat up Altar if really needed. Prelate on 2 is definitely interesting. Stoneforge is fine. Sarah's really nice at just being aggressive and also blocking. I think Mums are great. Yeah, I don't mind trimming a Recruiter. That actually makes it, but I do want the prelate. Skyclave, Recruiter, Flick Wisp. Sarah is definitely interesting. Sarah, the one thing that I hate about Death and Taxes is that if you bring in Graveyard Hate, you usually just lose to their go wide strategy, which is where Sarah's really nice at just being a great blocker and attacker. This is actually 60. We'll run with this and see how it goes. Okay. This isn't the worst hand. Karakas answers Gak really nicely. We have Skyclave and Swords for removal. And then if we do just draw another land, we have the 5 for Batterskull. But it's pretty reactive. It's like turn 1 we have answer to something, but then we don't really have a turn 2 play, which is huge. I don't really want to go to 5. Turn 1 Mum, turn 2 Port, turn 3 Recruiter. I'm happy to drop a Plains here. I could try to mulligan aggressively for something like Rest in Peace, but I can only assume my opponent has a pretty good handle on that. Wasteland here plays second Mum. Port kind of does the same thing, but doesn't put the Mum online. I think getting second Mum online is pretty good here. We already have 3 lands for the Recruiter. Hey, Wolf. Vengevine Hogaak. Okay. Port's definitely interesting. Study. It's just tough because if I'm not playing the Mum there, then I'm not playing it when I play the Recruiter. It's going to be like turn 4 before I play it. And it looks like my opponent was on a 1 land, which is pretty interesting. Yikes. And careful, yeah, careful. Cabal Therapy in the bin as well. rough. I was speaking to John about this matchup, and he said just mulling to rip is what he usually does, but pretty tough. That's fine. Hogaak's going to be okay here because we do have the Caracas. Jeez, yeah. Yikes. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, on paper it seems not the worst, but I've always just felt really unfavored for D&T. It's just so much quicker, and you really rely on cards your opponent's most likely boarding for. This is a fine hand. Can even lead on the Caracas, so if we get wastelanded, it's not the worst. Yeah, the large boards are really tough. Outside of like having a Blatterskull in play and it being game 1, they just bring in so much good stuff for answering those sort of cards. Delver. Okay. Opponent went to 6. I'm gonna brainstorm. Okay. Definitely a nice hand against Delver. Thunder. Wasteland's fine. Pretty happy here just to untap, tick up Vial, wasteland our opponent and pass. Even just to keep them off Brazen Borrower on the Vial is pretty huge. Port doesn't really change anything. I'll definitely activate Vial in their end step, because if they're on a Stifle build and they don't have a removal spell for Mum, they could potentially Stifle the Vial to see if they could untap and then remove it. But if they have a land-light hand, then Wasteland there is just so nice to take them off the Ponder to find more land drops. Hey Tasty Goats. Sadly, I am not in America, but seems like a pretty cool event. I'm just gonna activate it. There's definitely a reason not to. Nice. Okay. I don't think there's any reason to play the Caracas here, because they have no lands, they can't deal with the Thalia yet, so it's really just putting this in front of Wasteland. But if they're Wastelanding us, then that's probably fine. So if I can make my opponent wasteland me, that's a-okay. Yeah, the turn 1 Vial was huge. I mean, this turns off the Ponder as well, which is great. We have ample answers for the insect elaboration as well. Are you excited for Sanctum Prelate and Modern Horizons 2? I'm kind of off Modern, so it's not going to affect me too much. But it is cool to see how it might fare in Modern. Oh, the Vial's actually pretty good. Doesn't really matter at this stage, but... I'm just going to use a Skyclave here on the Delver, and then if we need to, we can flicker it later on, which is nice. Our opponent's also behind on mana, so like Prelate for 1 here is fine as well. Turning off the Ponder in hand. But yeah, pretty tough save for my opponent. Hey Dark Poet, a huge thank you for the tier 1 sub. Very appreciated. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what you play in Legacy. I'm going to assume it's blue-red. There's nothing that really changes. I do like the extra path. I don't mind the judgments, but... I guess we'll see. We can easily drop the Revoker. Jailer's interesting because if they are on a more aggressive build with the Young Pyromancer, then it can be pretty tough to lose the Monarch. I don't mind just going up on removal and sending this back. Just light changes. I think the matchup's pretty well favored for D&T. Play any depths in Legacy, mostly green-white. Very cool. I know that Jono Yannick, also known as Dreadnought 33, has been doing well with green-white. Obviously, Lynn Chalice and a few other players have been doing really well with green-white-black as well. I'm gonna keep this. We're up a game. If we draw a white source, it's pretty sweet. If we don't, then, you know, maybe... If our opponent starts on Ponder, then I'm pretty happy to go pretty aggressive here on the Wastelands, but even here I'm pretty happy with this. Dark Poet, you're more than welcome. A huge thank you for checking them out. It's always tough because we do have a large number of white sources in the deck, but there's definitely games where you just don't draw them. Opponent also playing a basic, which still makes me think it's going to be blue-red, although I have seen a basic pop up in ROG from time to time. The island makes me want to lead on Wasteland, just so the port doesn't get Wasteland, because port's obviously quite good against the island. So I'd rather throw away the Wasteland than anything else. But if we draw Plains, then we could have played that. One top, one bottom. Okay. Yeah, Rip does turn off a lot. I think the only issue that I've had with RUG is from Maverick side, Clothis, of course. We didn't play Rip. Okay. A braid. Okay. That's fine. We still have some time here. We have the port next turn as a fine play. Probably just taking them off the island. Because if they want to cantrip into a threat, then at least we can take them off one blue source. Do they have another basic? They do, okay. Usually 2 and 1, so makes a lot of sense. Nice. I'm pretty happy here to play the Thalia. Get a board going. Obviously attacking my opponent is pretty nice. I can't bolt it here, of course. Also plays around days. One card that could change this matchup is something like untap and play True Name, which we don't have a great answer for. We did bring in one Council's Judgment, and we have sort of Fire and Ice and Flyers, but outside of that, it's not the greatest. Hey Flintfire, you got your Green Sun sweater today? Very cool. It is very comfy. They are... I'm pretty impressed with the quality of them, which is nice. But a huge thank you for picking it up. Hey Lopets, welcome. I hope you're doing well and having a nice weekend. Or Friday night. I always get the times wrong for those in the US. Another swords. Okay. Pretty happy to attack first. I kind of want to get the Delver off the board here. I don't want to play the Recruiter just yet. And I can swords here playing around days and also port my opponent, which is nice. Just nervously cracked a PSA case for the first time. Ooh, what was in it? We need to know. Guru Forest? Nice. 9:40 PM Friday? Very cool. Okay. I could have done that upkeep, and I probably was supposed to do that in upkeep. Just to play around like hardcast Force Negation. I assume they took out Force Negation, but any sort of card like that, yeah. Brazen Borrow is fine. I don't mind going after the red source here. If they have a removal spell, they have a removal spell, but if they don't, they have to use a Scalding Tarn, most likely to find a Volk. Brainstorm, sure. It's pretty good living in the future. I know the price of Bitcoin. I know how the metagame shifted. It's a big advantage playing before everyone else. This song always reminds me of coconuts, like coconuts on a beach. Wasteland's okay. Pretty happy for it to be a Plains and not something like a Caracas. We're still at 17 as well, so in a pretty prime spot. There's the Volk. Chain is fine. 2 cards left for my opponent. No comment, Mark. I don't share my secrets. Okay. I think I'm happy just to deal with the Brazen Borrower here and play the Jide out. I think Wasteland here is more important for us than it is to take my opponent off second red. I wouldn't mind seeing a Daze here. Trying to think of a card that if I really wanted to beat Hogaak, what I could play. It's probably something like just extra Rest in Peace or maybe Grafdigger's Cage as a way to play around Cabal Therapy a little bit. Grafdigger's Cage seems pretty strong because it is turn 1 interaction against some of the combo decks. And it is just something they have to deal with before they go off, but you know, like Bridge still works through Cage. It really only stops Vengevine, Hogaak, Bloodgust, Gravecrawler, which is still pretty good. Rabtrap? Yeah, Rabtrap's pretty good. Double red, Young Pyromancer? Okay. That's fine. Opponent's still with 1 card. A land here would be perfect, because then we can play Thalia and Swords to Plowshares. No. I still like just taking them off their threat here. Young Pyromancer can get out of hand pretty quickly. There is a case for waiting potentially, because our creatures aren't the worst against the tokens, and the Jide also answers it, and the Skyclave, and maybe the Swords is better suited for something like the Whale, if they're playing that. So maybe the third Swords there was loose on the Young Pyromancer, because our hand is actually pretty... yeah, pretty well positioned to beat it. But if we play like Thalia, and they untap and bolt it, get a creature, maybe counter the Skyclave or something else... they can go wide pretty quickly. This feels like Whale. Yeah. Exactly the reason not to use this sword. Might as well start building out the board. But yeah, this Whale's going to be really hard to hit. Should have definitely just thought more about the Young Pyromancer and its role. A little bit loose, and it's probably going to cost me. This is going to be really hard to come back from. They get back the Ponder, which is interesting. Yeah, Flickerwisp does reset the whale, which is nice. But they already get 2 cards off it, which is pretty huge. But yeah, just a pretty costly use of swords on young Pyromancer. Probably pretty happy just boarding the same. I don't think I want to change anything. Opponent got back to the parade. I mean, if they have a counterspell, we're just dead next turn, because I assume if the Delver flips. Alright. There's no need to wait on the force. I'm gonna send this back. But yeah, whale definitely makes you think a little bit more about how you want to use your removal. I don't mind this hand, especially if the first Vial gets countered. And at least we get to go turn 1 Vial into turn 2 Port, or turn 2 Vial into Wasteland. There's a world where I could bait my opponent by playing like Port into Vial to make it look like our mana isn't correct, and we could just lose by losing the Vial, but... I'm pretty happy to do that. Port into Vial. I think the bait's worth it. And losing the first Vial isn't the worst. Nice. Getting a Brazen Borrow out of it as well is pretty nice. Wasteland one-time dealer. Nice. Okay. That is fine. Path is a really nice draw. Path's interesting because if they do miss land drops and I don't really want to aggressively path, we have seen a Braid, we have seen Brazen Borrower, so I'm pretty happy just to wasteland this Volk here, especially if they shuffle. Hey GFRC, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? Yeah, Revenge is pretty interesting. I think there's definitely an argument that there's better cards to play, like the 13th Plains and the 2nd Spirited Labyrinth, but I'm a pretty big fan. So this is actually pretty interesting. There is a world where I get stuck on the one land and can't cast the path through Thalia, but I think just keeping my opponent off something like a Braid is pretty huge. I'm just weary of the Vial being answered. And I can play around counter magic if I am being patient. Wow, is this no lands? Did they ponder? Surely they pondered into a land. They didn't shuffle, yeah. Hey Scanel, welcome. Why can't they daze it? Yeah, it's true. But even if they force the Thalia and then remove the Vial, we're in a tough spot. I think I just like Thalia into play pass. Because that just works with what I've been trying to achieve here. I could like hold up Spirit, but if they just go land a Braid, then it's pretty tough. This could even be Whale. Get back Ponders. 2 blue. Preordain. Okay. That's fine. One top, one bottom. Happy to leave Violet 2 here. Probably for a few turns. Why am I streaming DMT? That's a pretty nice draw. Why am I streaming DMT more these days? I just really enjoy the deck. It was my first deck in Legacy, and I definitely started out streaming DMT before I played Maverick. But it's yeah, it's always nice to just change things up, get a bit of a refresh. I'm pretty happy to go with Stoneforge here. It can't be countered, which is nice. It can't be traded with Forkbolt with both our creatures. This also puts some pressure on them answering the Stoneforge if I get like Batterskull. And now we have Sarah and Spirit in play, which is nice off the Vial. TNT was your first Legacy deck too? Very cool. Nice. If they tap out for something like True Name, I'm pretty happy because we have the Sarah Avenger, which is looking quite strong. Chain on the Mystic. That is going to be okay. Delver's fine. I'm just going to put in the Sarah here and keep the Spirit at instant speed. Violent 2 again. Also means if we draw Caracas, we can just hold up Thalia or instant speed if they try to remove it, which is nice. What are my thoughts on Elite Spellbinder in D&T? It's pretty tough to see where it's good enough against other cards. That's the big thing. I did like it in Humans. I played it in Humans last week, which is on my YouTube channel, and it was pretty good, but there were times where I just wished it was kind of Kitesail Freebooter, especially as a 2-drop versus a 3-drop. But it's definitely an interesting card. I think it will see some play in Legacy in different cards, but I'm going to say Humans is probably where it's going to find its home, if anywhere, as kind of Kitesail X to X. You think it's good in White Eldrazi? Yeah, I saw Max playing a list that looks really interesting. Like a green-white Eldrazi list. They played Noble Hierarch as another way to get creatures out. I'm going to float red. Okay. Interesting. They flip Ponder, that's fine. Hey Bookish Matt, welcome. I hope you're well. Yeah, it's nice to stream in at night. A braid on that. Pretty happy just to put in Spirit here. Nearly lethal if we untap and path the Insect Elaboration. I don't believe our opponent can attack here. They have to hold it back. Which is pretty good for us. They could like untap and Fork Bolt. It's definitely a start. Blazing Volley is another good one. I'm pretty happy just to path here. Attack for 8 to turn off fetch lands. Which I guess doesn't really matter because of this extra land they're getting. I don't really want to trade any of these. I also get to play Mum this turn. I don't think there's a world where I hold Mum. But yeah, unless I am really scared of something like Blazing Volley. Maybe I do. We have 3 threats, so they have to have a way to deal with 2 of them through something like Blazing Volley or Fork Bolt. Yeah, I think just because of that we can just hold the Mum. Especially being at 1. Even something like Young Pyromancer into Lightning Bolt on Sarah Avenger doesn't do it because they lose one of those creatures to Thalia. Yeah, definitely interesting. Nice. Definitely what I would call a favored matchup, which is always good. Yeah, tough spot for them. Really tough spot. I mean, really lucky for us to have Vial as turn 1 plays in all 3 games. Even if the game 2 hand was interesting, to say the least. On the play against Star Fox. Okay. 1 Lay Under with Vial, but a pretty gun hand. I'm going to keep this. I feel like Star Fox is on lands, which is a little bit tough to have this Karakas against, but I could be wrong. I just know we've played before. Foothills. Is this Elves? Okay. Okay. Probably just to slow down my opponent. If I don't draw a land here, I'm just going to Swords the Dryad Arbor. Second Vial's also interesting. Yeah, I'm pretty happy to play second Vial here. Vial only gets better. And the Swords I might just want to keep for a threat instead of going after their mana. Because I don't have a great hand Rishna or Wasteland wise. And if it is Elves, I definitely want to hit an Elf. Okay. Okay. Well, that's another great reason not to use a sword. Everything's fine. Everything is fine. Okay. I think here it's best just to Swords the Collector Oof and put in Thalia to attack something like Green Suns or Glimpse. I don't think they attack if I don't hold up Port. I think if I was going to try to blow them out, I wouldn't play the Port. We have some nice plays next turn. We have Port online, we have Skyclave off the Vial, we have Stoneforge Mystic for Jide, and then we have Flicker Wisp to flicker one of them. But yeah, Elves is definitely tough. The taxing effects of D&T just don't line up too well, and they're a little bit too slow. Another Druid. Okay, this is fine. Tick both of these up. Recruiter, okay. Recruiter doesn't do too much here, but it does give me options. Pretty happy to attack. I can put Jide into turn if I flicker out this Thalia, but I'd rather keep that up. I'm probably pretty happy just to tap down the Dryad Arbor and Skyclave away a Heritage Druid in response to the next creature. Okay. That definitely makes me think that it's going for a Cradle run. So I'm probably pretty happy just taking out a Heritage Druid here. Just to take him off that extra mana off Cradle, which would be pretty huge. I mean, Cradle here is the 5 mana 4 natural order as well, which is pretty tough. Green Suns for 0? Yeah, Recruiter's pretty nice. Recruiter into Spirit's pretty solid. I like that, Lackey. I think next turn if we draw a land, we're just hard casting the Jide. Because Jide is how we really take over this game. Could also get prelate for 4. Definitely a few options. Yeah, so I could Recruiter first Spirit and then untap and flicker with the Recruiter by putting the Vial up to 3 the following turn, which is pretty cool. I can just pay it for 2 off the Stoneforge, that's correct. Probably just getting a Visionary here, which is fine. I don't think I have to respond with Vial, because I don't think they're playing like a second Oof. Yeah. Alright. Alright. So maybe the play is just to end step Stoneforge, find Jide, untap, put both to 3. And then we have some options. It does turn off Spirit at instant speed, which is pretty good right now because of the Wywood Visionary interaction. And I think because we have the Cradle in the field, unless I drew Wasteland this turn, I wouldn't really want to do anything here. I could just cast it. I'm going to tick this up, and I am just going to go prelate for 4. They're definitely working towards natural order, or maybe just Crater Hoof in hand. But either way, Port and 2 Vials on 3 does it. Okay. That's pretty nice as well. I can't play around everything, Jack. I think here it's just going to be activate... yeah. I think it's Recruiter, Prelate 4, port them, untap if we hit a land. We could also flicker out the Cradle, which is interesting. Prelate. And I'm pretty happy to attack with Thalia. If they want to return the Visionary, that's more than fine. Could also attack with the Skyclave, to be fair. And probably the Stoneforge. I'll keep that back. Visionary bounce is fine. Tap down Cradle. The issue here is that even if I untap and find a land, I can't beat the Wywood Heritage Root Interaction, so I do need Flicker Wisp the following turn. So what a land does is allows me to hold up both Port and Jide activation, and step put in Wisp. There's Shepherd, okay. So now, oh, second Cradle, rough. Yikes. Is this just close to lethal? 9? Just hardcast oof? Yeah. Rough. No great blocks here. Canonist and Path. Second Prelate's okay. What don't I want? I don't mind the extra recruiters. I think Sarah's a little bit too fair for this matchup. Also, Thalia's are pretty rough. I don't mind Judgments because they do give me an out to Progenitus. Maybe second Prelate isn't good enough. Mindbreak's definitely interesting. I've never brought in Mindbreak, but I'll see how it goes. Jailer's also a little bit rough because it's not usually a great spot to play Jailer. They can just go so wide. Cataclysm is also interesting, but I feel like Cataclysm's always a come from behind kind of card. And Elves just have a great time of building faster than we can. Okay. Second Mum. Okay. Probably pretty happy just to take care of the Wywood here and then end step put in Mum. See what they cast first. I mean, I'd love to see a glimpse. Oh no! Oh, opponent. It's really nice for us. I mean, Natural Order just does it for my opponent. What? Okay. Well, now it's a case of either getting down Jide or tapping them off the Cradle, which is pretty tough. Jit easy, yeah. I feel like if I don't play Jit, I'm just kind of time walking myself a little bit. Yeah, why else would they play Cradle? It is pretty scary. I don't think there's a world where we can race. Alright, they had it. Mm-hmm. Alright, so I probably just name Wirewood with this Revoker. We do have the Mum, so it doesn't really matter about Wirewood. I just want to get into play. This is non-lands, so we can't name Dryad Arbor. This is probably okay at 2. Okay. Green. We can cast 2s, but I wasn't going to put a 2 into play anyway because I want to attack with the Jit. I don't think there's any relevant 3s at all either. So we take 10, we can only gain 8. It's not like we're racing, which is tough. It's really just Council's Judgment. Second Cradle. Now I'm pretty happy to put this to 3. Probably just want to hold up. I could be attacking with the Revoker as well. It's probably incorrect to not attack with the Revoker. Oh. Hey, Dr. Flannel, a huge thank you for the sub. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what you play in Legacy. Guess I could play Containment Priest on the board. Does Containment Priest do anything against... Hogaak? Quirion Ranger. Sure. I guess the tough thing about Mindbreak Trap against this deck as well is that if I am going pretty aggressively for Canonist, that there's never really a chance for Mindbreak to be good. Alright. Found this thing called greensunzenith.com. It is good stuff. Definitely leaving points on the board by not attacking with Revoker, but I've definitely just lost some feel. I think Grafdigger's Cage is fine, especially here because it answers both decks, which is nice. Yeah, Cage seems pretty good. It's also quite good against some of the combo decks. Okay. Alright, so we get one draw. Hey Wombo Combo, welcome. Tough. This also turns on Shepherd next turn, I believe. So I don't think we even just get there with CJ off the top. Rough. Revoker the Arbor, yeah. At least they're pretty quick matches, which is nice. Yeah, Elves is really, really solid. Seems like a really cool deck to sink your teeth into if you have the time. Nice. I don't mind this hand. Turn 1 Mum, turn 2 Port or Revoker if it's relevant. We don't have double white, but I have a good feeling we'll draw into it by the first couple of turns. Opponent on 7. Hey Starfox, welcome. Yeah, nice work on Elves. Definitely a tough one. Underground Sea. Fatal Push. Okay. Probably don't mind just Port here. Really nice to get the second white source there. Yeah, it's always nice to fight. It just always seems a little bit rough. You never feel that great. Port again is probably fine here. I could definitely see a white-black deck like Dead Guy Ale playing Plague. The small splash is also pretty interesting. Delver's going to be okay. That's actually pretty nice, because I want to play this Flick Wisp and Skyclave around days, which this kind of accomplishes. Pretty happy to take them off the red. I'm not really scared of Gomag yet. Ponder's okay. Yeah, Zealous is pretty sweet. Pretty good against the decks that have a variety of creature types. Hogaak is a big one. Blue-Red Delver is a pretty big one. Elves as well, it's quite nice because it hits Dryad, Insect, and Elf. Double Delver, okay. Should tap black. Yeah, it's fair. I guess if they have Bolt, then they have to Bolt me. Okay. Pretty easy card to force if you have a force. No. Okay. That's pretty nice. Now I'm pretty happy to take them off black. Also just wastelanding around Fatal Push being turned on with Revolt. Yeah, even like Death and Taxes hitting Spirit, Elemental, and Creature is really nice. Maverick. There's obviously humans. Bird. Dryad. Wow, aggressive. Yeah, oh, no attacks. That's really interesting. I'm still happy just to play around Days, so I'm just going to play out Revoker. I don't think there's a main deck card that I have to worry about. I don't think there's actually like a target that I want to go with. Oh wow, okay. Maybe Revoke is just so powerful that it wins me the game. Naming Borrower does not work. It's not an activated ability, it's just a split card. This is interesting. I definitely want the Path and a Council's Judgment. I don't mind taking out these two at least. I think again I'm just happy with this. Pretty light splash. Extra removal's always really nice against their aggressive starts. Especially if they play something like Plague Engineer in the 75. Damn. Sly Joker. A huge thank you. Far out. Too kind. Too kind. Welcome. Welcome. Sly, you are more than welcome. That is very appreciated. Damn. Ah, too kind. Too kind. Thank you very much. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the Zenith. I am pretty happy just to wasteland the Underground Sea here and see if we can get them just for keeping a one-lander with Delver. Too kind. Too kind, Sly. Let me know where you're from. What are you playing? Legacy? If you play Legacy. They showed a Daze. Oh, they have a Wasteland. Alright. I don't mind Port into Vial here. Nice. Fish and Taxes. Too kind. Ah, so good. Nice. Very much appreciated. Thank you guys. Too kind. Young Pyro. Okay. Interesting. I think it's Young Pyro that I want to go after first. I haven't seen Grim Lovemancer in a long time. So that's probably a big one. I think if I didn't have to name in the blind, it would just be that. Okay. I like just trying to get rid of the Young Pyro here. And pass him back. Hey Zeolith, thanks for the follow. A huge thank you. Let me know where you're from. Sly Joker, the Northern States. I've been playing Legacy since 2016. Primarily Grixis Control, but I've been on Abzan Maverick. Nice. Because of your content and loving the deck. Very cool to hear. Abzan's really strong. Achilles has been doing really well with some really cool builds. I like that Achilles builds a list and then sticks with it and just gets some data on that one list. Whereas I tend to usually play around a little bit. Interesting, they went for Young Pyromancer over Wasteland. Okay. We'll just activate this for the sake of activating it. Alright, I think a plains here would be perfect. Still not the worst. Hey Ramar, welcome. What's Legacy? Haha. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, there's definitely some interesting things I could do here. Even to play around any counter magic, I can put in Thalia first and then path the Young Pyromancer. I'm just going to pass here with path up. You like porting? They're going to brainstorm first. That's going to be okay. I'm sure if I ported the Vulcan upkeep, they would have brainstormed in response. Wasteland this. Interesting. Cool. Now we have Sarah, which is pretty sweet. Pretty happy to throw Sarah into a removal spell rather than play Thalia out. Especially seeing we have the second one. I'm going to keep this at 2. Plains, turn 5. Nice. Thalia first, and now Sarah can't be countered. And we know they still have days. Maybe they put away with Brainstorm, but you never know. Two mana Pond is more than fine. We can untap, put Vial up to 3, play the Stoneforge Mystic out. If we draw a land, it does play around the days that we might know about. They're gonna trade. Interesting. I could flicker out the Volk as well to play around it. We'll see if we draw a land or not. If they want to force the Stoneforge, I'm not too unhappy either. Okay. We can do it in combat as well. So we can attack with Thalia, end of combat Violin, Flickwist, take out the Volk, second main, play the Stoneforge. Probably just Jit. I guess they could be faking Gutshot. Damage. Hey Ben. Yeah, Sarah's been performing pretty well. I've been pretty happy with how it's done so far. What did they do at the Ponder? Chose not to shuffle. I don't mind Batterskull. Yeah, Tomic's an interesting one. I haven't seen Tomic in a long time. Not just in Death and Taxes, but also in some of like the green-white depths decks I used to play it alongside Giver of Runes. Definitely an interesting card. I think it's the case of just the deck getting a little bit... Stomp. Okay. A little bit more tuned. Always no. Second Thalia is pretty interesting. I'm probably happy playing out the second Vial here instead of holding up Caracas because of the Thalia in hand. Polukranos Unchained. I know that Matt Sol has done really well with it as a one-of in some of his green-black decks, which is really interesting. This looks like Gomag. Gomag's going to be an issue. Interesting. Interesting definitely means a lot of things. I never like saying that something is bad or wrong because I don't know what my opponent is thinking. But interesting usually means that it's a line or a play that I didn't think was coming. But yeah, I think Polukranos is pretty interesting. It's nice that it's a Green Sun's target for removal in some cases. The issue is that it doesn't do anything the turn it comes down. That's at least the issue that I have with it. Whereas I would rather have something like Questing Beast, which attacks straight away. Shifting Ceratops can attack straight away, which is kind of nice. But it is pretty, yeah, cool. I'm not trading the Flickwisp with the Elementals, so I'm happy to attack here. And then just hold back Thalia with Caracas for Gomag. Yeah, Prelate in Modern Horizons 2 is pretty interesting. It's pretty cool, actually. Our 3-card hand is nearly a 0-card hand. Correct. Mystical Sanctuary. Interesting. That's not greedy. I kind of hope they go after the Thalia just to get damage in. I'm going to activate File and see if they do anything. They have 3 cards in hand. No. Okay. Oh wow, I've just never seen it before. So I do want to keep the Flickwisp back for Bone Crusher Giant. Alright. Tick one up. Planes. Okay. I will play a Thalia. We know they have the push, but do they have revolt? So they draw the fatal push. I feel like a lot of streamers with beards play with their beards when they're streaming, and it's so hard not to do. I even just keep touching it. I keep wanting to touch it. All right. Trade here. Put this here. I really hope they fatal push the Thalia in response to us trying to Caracas it. Half the fun of having a beat is touching it. It is. It is. What are our outs? Swords to Plowshares is a good start. Maybe some sort of recruiter train as well. I do have ears. Oh, this is a big win. Nice. I'm just going to play the second Thalia in response. Just so there's not a time where the Thalia tax isn't in play. Nice, okay. Getting the Bone Crush off the table is really nice. I'm pretty happy with keeping these at 3 and 2. Okay. I guess I get a free attack, right? No. So I could attack and then return with the Caracas, but pretty happy just to leave this up. But the Elemental is definitely doing damage. Don't touch the beard. Don't touch the beard. Another Gomag, perhaps? Alright. We have outs. We have outs. I'm just going to play it now as well, in case they have like a Ponder or some sort of sorcery speed spell they want to cast in their second main. So they can't have priority and cast it before I put the creature back in. Alright, here we go. Recruiter of the Guard into Flicker Wisp. I do like having a Violin too, just because of Thalia and Caracas right here. Okay, that's a start. That's definitely a start. Probably pretty happy to do it in their turn. But we are close to just Bolt with Elemental being too much. 3 mana. Brazen Borrower. That is just lethal. We block a Gomag, we sword the other one, we take 4. I don't think I want to change anything. There's maybe a thought of like one less recruiter for one more like council's judgment. It's just a nice way to deal with creatures. Shave a Thalia? Yeah, I could definitely see shaving a Thalia as well. Yeah. Nice. Nice chat. Yeah. Not the greatest, but it has a nice mana base, which I'm actually pretty happy about. And it has a turn 1 Vial, so have a lot of plays to work on. I took Jailer out because of Young Pyromancer and like Brazen Borrower. They can definitely take the crown a lot more than I'd like. Hey Racket, how do I feel about the Ninjas deck? Ninjas is pretty solid. It's going to be the next Maverick matchup analysis on the Green Suns, which is cool. So definitely look out for that. It should be done in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, pretty tough for Maverick at times. Have to really understand what threats to remove and how to use your removal. Wisp. You're building it right now? Nice. Brainstorm's pretty good. They'd probably take Skyclave here, because it actually is removal. Depends on what they have answers to. Prelate's okay. But I mean, if I play Prelate next turn on 1, then I turn off all my swords. I do have Skyclave and Flick Wisp, but does turn off a lot for me as well. They chose not to shuffle. Best draw here is just Thalia, and then we can put in one of these uncounterable. Port's not bad either. I can either port here or just put down something like Sword, but because I don't have a 2-drop, I'm pretty happy just to pass with tapping down black. Okay. This isn't the worst, because now we have Skyclave on probably Insectile Aberration, then Flicker Wisp it onto Young Pyromancer. Okay. So I want this Skyclave to resolve, so I'll put that in our file. And take out the... This is actually pretty interesting. If I take out the Insectile Aberration, it's nice, because then at worst they get back a 1/1. If I take out the Young Pyromancer here, it means if they counter the Flicker Wisp, they don't have... I actually am going to go after the Young Pyromancer. I think the go wide ability of it is just a little bit more scary than the Flying of Delver. Wow, okay. They do get a 2/2, which is a little bit rough because obviously a 1/1 is better against our current board, but I feel like that's okay. We can also do 6 here. Misty is good for them because it turns on a Revolt for Fatal Push. Mystic. Okay. Thoughtseize. I assume the sword's been taken here. Stoneforge is also interesting because it means that it's a creature and Jide. Oh, they're going to try to race. Interesting. Okay, this is fine. This will stay at 3. Right. Stoneforge. Batterskull is pretty interesting here as well because we do have the 5th land. I actually don't mind the Batterskull. Can tap them off black here as well, which is nice. They have 1 card left, so they're going to brainstorm here. No. Blue, red, stomp. Okay. Sure. I think I'm happy to not play around days here and just slam the Batterskull. But Mum's actually pretty interesting here as well. Mum also just gives me time to draw into another way to play the Batterskull around days, which I think is fine. This means I get to play Mum and also tap down the Underground Sea again. This keeps them off Plague Engineer unless they have like Black Source and Plague. Happy to 6. Okay. Bone Crusher's fine. They have 1 card still. This goes on the stack. We're not ticking it up. Nice. Nice. Pass. A Braid's a pretty big killer here. I'm not sure if my opponent's playing Colligan's Command, but I guess Brazen Borrower is also a pretty good out for my opponent. Interesting. Have a bounce spell? They must. What have they got? Delver's okay. Maybe they're trying to force me to use the mum? Well, now I'm happy to attack with both. They're at 3? Alright, let's hold the vial. We'll tap down black. There was a thought of going after the flooded strand, but I think that's a little bit too cute. No flip's pretty huge. Again, I'm not really in a rush to attack with mum next turn, as in with protection. Yeah, tapping the fetch does negate the scry. Okay. Let's go and give pro red. They named Core? Interesting. Very interesting. Why would they name Core? Yeah, I'm not too sure. I can only assume they misclicked. I'm not sure what naming Core there does. Interesting. Good to get there, though. Always nice to get up against Delver. Maybe they thought it was Give of Runes? Haha. Interesting. Interesting. No, not the hand that I want to play with. This is the hand that I want to play with. I'm going to bottom my mum. Much better 6. I think they might have just yeah, accidentally cast something that they didn't mean to. Second vial's pretty nice because it plays around days. Okay. Please someone validate me. No flip, that's pretty great for us. Misty's okay. Trop Tarmogoyf? Underground Sea, okay. Huh. Second Delver's pretty good. Second Delver flipped is really good as well. Two cards on top. Alright. Pretty happy just to play out Thalia here. Force Negation's more than fine. Double Delver starts are very terrifying. Sure. Take this up to 2. Krakus is kind of nice. I don't want to play into Force Negation here though. I am pretty happy to play the Vial though. Wasteland's huge. I don't think I have the time for Batterskull. Maybe I do if I draw into Flickwisp. I think it just has to be Batterskull. Because Sword of Fire and Ice kind of does a similar thing as Jide. It just has to be Batterskull, draw into Flickwisp or a Flyer. Just to keep them off putting me to 1. I guess Wasteland could do it. Revoker does not do it. What are the chances? Well, what are the chances my opponent has some removal? Let's be true. Could play around Stifle. We haven't seen Stifle yet. It's not like I can bluff. Swords anyway. I swear there's a card that when you put it into play, your opponent loses. All their creatures lose flying. Alright. Looks like they're digging for Bolt. Which gives us a chance. But... Oh, what is this? Interesting. Interesting. I guess we go to 5 and then go to 6 anyway, so we still have to have a live draw. Sarah Avenger does it. Oh! Haha! If opponent has slow rolled Bolt, that would be really tough. Okay. Okay. Nice. Gonna activate Stoneforge first. Ooh, okay. Now I'm pretty happy just to trade. I don't want to turn on like Fatal Push because of Revolt. I'm pretty happy just trading here and keeping back the Mum. Especially seeing that we have the Jide as well. True name. That's fine. We have protection now. This is all good. I will put in Revoker here and just name like... Yeah, Last Hope's probably the closest thing to them having like a weird card that isn't... Grim I can easily answer with the Jide. These can both be no. Wasteland's pretty solid. Takes them off black. So we want to equip to the Germ. Give Pro blue. Swing for 4. Nice. We want to kill the Delver. And take them off black. Nice. Now this is tough because my opponent has to do something to our board if they want to attack with the True Name, or else we just have lethal on the swing back. Fork Bolt. That's okay. Can't do anything there. What we can do is put the Jide now on the Stoneforge Mystic and attack with both creatures. Thalia would be really nice because it plays around Bolt as well. So if we can draw Thalia, I'd be pretty happy. Plains. Equip here. This is fine. We can pump it to make it an X4. Just to keep it as a creature. Probably could have also kept the Plains. Plains is probably better there as just an unknown with 2 Vials in play. Probably a pretty big risk to actually play it there. This feels like Whale. Okay. That's pretty good. Now we don't have great attacks. Ooh, that doesn't do anything here. I guess we can attack with both to just try to get at least counters on the Jide or life with the Batterskull. I don't mind that. I think an attack here is still fine. Yeah. This puts him down to 2. I might as well equip the Germ. No. Do I want to hold back Return the Germ? Return the Batterskull. That's interesting. I think I'm happy holding up Return Batterskull. Because we have the vials to put in creatures, it's not like next time I'm going to be flush. I would return if they had like a main deck of Braid or like maybe a Brazen Borrower, because then I can fizzle it. Nothing. Oh yeah, so they can bounce Batterskull with Brazen Borrower, but if I return the Batterskull in response to Brazen Borrower, it fizzles Petty Theft and goes to the graveyard instead of going to exile. That's probably the only consideration. They go back Bolt, so I probably just want to pass here with Skyclave up. Try to find a Flick Wisp or some sort of flyer. Caracas. Probably just going to hold that. Yikes. Hey Raisins. Thanks for stopping by. They are having a whale of a time, correct. Haha. Ah. This is really tough. Brainstorm's okay. Please stop. Rough. It's been a pretty sweet game. Delver's fine. That's a good take off the Skyclave, which is nice. We know they have a Bolt, but can't do too much there. There are outs, but it's going to take a lot of luck from us. Starts with Recruiter, most likely. It's just an extra creature. Preordain, most likely setting up Delver. We've had, yeah, there's definitely like some really good draws like Swords to Plowshares, but I mean we can make our opponent use the Bolt. Sunlance, nice. Yeah, and they can full court us. Judgment, Prelate, Path, Grixis, Thalia, Jailer, Revoker, Recruiter. I think this is pretty good. Yeah, I hardly ever play against Grixis Delver. If anything, I play against like Grixis midrange, sometimes Delver, but yeah, pretty cool to see it back. Obviously a bit more grindy than the other builds, but you could, I guess Rug is pretty grindy. But yeah, cool to see. Cool to see playing around, people playing around with Delver. I do like that there's multiple variants, it's not just like you play blue-red and that's it. I'll keep this. Path does give my opponent mana, but if they're scared to waste on and go for basics early on, then Path can get better in the mid to late game. Hey, Hooch. Yeah, D&T is nice. It hasn't changed too much, especially since the printings of like Recruiter and Prelate and Palace Jailer. Skyclave is definitely one of the bigger printings for it, which is nice. But yeah, it's a sweet deck. A lot of play to it, which is nice. I'm probably pretty happy to trade the Avenger with the Delver and keep the Path for one of their bigger threats. That's if I get to trade the Sarah with it. Second Delver's pretty scary. I don't want to cast the Path into Daze, so I'm just going to allow this and untap. Plains. See what they show. Delta, that's fine. There's a world where they attack with both. Most likely not. Young Pyro's okay. I'm going to Path in response here. Because I have the Skyclave for the Young Pyromancer, and they can't really attack you with the Delver either. Oh, I didn't put in Sarah. Should have definitely put in Sarah. Just totally had a mind lapse. Judgment's pretty sweet. I do just want to answer the Young Pyromancer here before they get more value off it. Hopefully it is a... Yeah, hopefully it's not a game that's decided by that 3 mana. 3 life. Sulfuric Vortex. Interesting. Okay. Well, now I kind of wish that I put in Sarah Avenger last turn. Yikes. Alright, these are not going up. I don't mind attacking with everything here. If they want to trade these two for Skyclave, that's fine. Yeah. Oh. So now the question is, do I want to use the Judgment on the Sulfuric Vortex or use it on the Delver? I definitely have more outs to the Delver. It's also a case of just... yeah, leaving it for now. Yeah, especially if they have a big threat coming. It's only going to get worse. And we do have like Flick Wisp, Skyclave to hit the Sulfuric Vortex if we're lucky. Wasteland's okay. I'm not going to block. I think the Sarah is pretty good for me. Preordain. One top, one bottom. Okay, that's fine. They have 2 cards left. Is it Force and blue card? That's the big question. in before double days? Well, luckily we have the planes for it. Nice. Alright, opponent. It's pretty good. It's going to come down to the Sarah. The Sarah would have been 3 and then 2 from the Silveric. Yeah. Just happens. Yeah, there's nothing we can do here. Rough. Rough. 2-3 is disastrous. List is sweet. I think if anything, I'm just going to change up the traps. I would like to... probably just take out the Mindbreak traps. And probably play... I could see another path. I do like Graph Cage right now. I think Graph Cage is pretty strong. And then I kind of have a free slot to play around with. I probably wouldn't mind another removal spell that's a little bit more than just Path. I'm not sure what it would be. But, yeah. Pretty fun games. Always nice to, yeah, to have at least some pretty interesting games, which is great. Big fan of that. But, yeah, I thought the deck did pretty well. Serevenger still okay, but I do like the thought of Luminite Aspirant as a way to get Serevenger up from just a 3/3, which is kind of nice. Containment Priest is probably a card I could think about as a 14th, or something like Mirren Crusader for the bug decks. Yeah, Avenger is... I wouldn't say it's a competitive card, but I've been really enjoying it in the matches that I've had, so... Based on experience, I think it's exactly how I like to play D&T, which is great. So I probably still wouldn't cut it for like the extra land and the extra spirit. But I would find something in the board. Maybe it is just another path. I'll definitely have to think about it. A huge thank you to everyone who came in and watched. And of course, to all the new gifted subs from... Oh, did I lose it? I lost it. Sly Joker. Sly Joker, a huge thank you. Definitely made this 2-3 feel a whole lot better. This league will be going on my YouTube channel, which is where you can find all my content. Obviously more D&T content, a lot of Maverick content, a bit of Abzan Depths, which just went up, which is pretty cool. But that is me. I'm going to be back tomorrow morning, pretty much in 12, about 18 hours from now. I'll be back with maybe D&T again. I kind of want to play Depths again because that was pretty fun. Ballista in the sideboard's pretty nice. I do like that as a recruiter target. It could just be Ballista. Ballista also pretty good against Hogaak if I really want to get rid of bridges, which is kind of cool. Let's see who else is playing. No one. No one's playing Legacy right now? Rough. Does anyone know anyone playing Legacy? I don't see... Wow. No one. No one plays Legacy this time? There we go, Ramar. A huge thank you. Nice. Yeah. Sarah is definitely a talking point to to be fair. But I find it really good right now against the Delver decks, especially against the True Name and Young Primeancr versions. Just being able to attack and defend is really strong. But yeah, take it with a grain of salt. A huge thank you again. We'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.